I just wanna ball, I just wanna ball, I just want it all, I just want it all. I wanna break the law, shipping off the wall. Hit me when I call, hit me when I call. Hear me at all.
Hear me now. Tuned in to the #1 podcast, the Center Circle Podcast. I'm your host, Frida Center. This is my lovely wife, Luxy Lady.
Hey.
We got Naomi Jonas.
What's up, y'all?
We got MTA CJ.
What's the vibe like?
We got Mysterious Mandy.
Stay dangerous.
I got Just Terry.
Ugh.
I got a special guest for y'all today, Nita. She's an entrepreneur, beautician. She got all the wigs and weaves all y'all ladies need to be, you know what I mean, slaying out here. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself and let her tell y'all more about her business.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Frida Center. Thank you for having me.
No
You
doubt.
already know I love you guys. Like you and Yellow Flea, you already know. But hi guys, my name is Nita. My friends know me as Shanita, so whichever one, you already know. As Free said, I'm a cosmetologist straight out of Brooklyn. I do custom units. We have bundles. We have shea butter. We have shades. So we do a little bit of everything. We want to make sure you're right from the head to the neck, at least, right? Had a little guest over here too. But yeah, thank you for having me, Free.
No doubt, no doubt. It's a pleasure having you, man, for real.
What are you working on currently? What's your focus?
So we're doing a parent and me class, right? So that's something virtual where you could come in with your child, wash hair, learn how to braid, products, everything. So that's something that we're in the works for right now. That's
dope. That's fire.
Thank you.
And you're in Brooklyn.
Yes,
Black
side.
owned.
Yes.
Black owned.
Support Black owned businesses.
Yes.
Yes. You could also check us out on NitaHairCollection.com, which is amazing. And also on Instagram, stylesbynita_.
Dope.
Would you rather lose all your money or lose all of your memory?
How about you go first since you introduced the game?
Okay. I think I would prefer to lose my money.
I'd rather lose my money and then have my memory and still maybe be able to create something. You know what I mean? Versus I don't know what my family is. I don't remember my life I had.
I'm gonna say memory. With the money, I create new memories.
That is a great answer. I was listening to all of them. I'm gonna forget my family unless I'm like, damn, I was gonna say, let me get the money, man, because
No, but would you forget the people, or would you just forget the times you shared with these people? And that's kind of
that's true.
That's a fine line.
That's what I was thinking as well.
There's different types.
I would say complete memory. Memory of the people that you know, everything.
Oh, well, that's fine. I'll take the money. I ain't gonna hold you. No shade, y'all.
Yeah. I could always remember how to make more money. That's not, you know what I mean? If I have that memory of the people, the experiences, that money could always come back. But the people, they can't come back. Like my great grandmother, she had dementia, and it was like every day was a new episode from her. Somebody stealing from her.
It's heartbreaking.
You know what I mean? It really is. She didn't know where she put certain things. It was really heartbreaking to see someone doing so well to not knowing anyone.
Right.
Because same for me, my grandmother, strongest person, most gangster person I know, mom, rest in peace. She lost all her memory. And it was this whole gangster don't remember anything right now. It's just it's watching somebody who was moving and grooving, and then they just there, and you
right.
What? I would have to get rid of the money.
That's true too. Cause think about it, my grandmother too. She went through Alzheimer's and she lost her memory, and it's she was always fighting just to remember who we were. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just some things that money can't replace. I think we live in a world too where it's it's just you got to get the bag by any means necessary. You gotta like, and we see it every day where it's like people are literally doing anything for money, like selling themselves, selling their souls. We just was watching the damn Jeffrey Epstein joint. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
It was
Like,
so sad.
it was just heartbreaking just to see what some people would do.
For everybody on here, is there any time that y'all had to like turn down like a large lump sum of money because it like may have conflicted with your morals, or you just
Yes.
didn't feel right about it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a New York love story.
We
Basically,
love your
I
New
was
York love stories, girl.
Right.
I was approached. So I was approached by the Arab at my corner store, and it was basically for a marriage so that his uncle can come to the state. But I would have to go to their country in the Middle East, and because to make it a little more authentic to
Wow.
and take photos, whatever. Probably go there once or twice and get married there. I believe in a traditional like Muslim ceremony, and then come here and start the process. And I would have got half, while going there, and then the rest as time elapsed, and he was closer to getting the final payment fully would be by the time he gets his papers. The issue was that it was kind of a back and forth with the price. So first he said 20. I said, no, I want 50.
20 bands, 20K.
20K, absolutely. I said, no, I want 50. He's like, you know what, fine, how about 30? And I said, if I take 30, I need a car and I want a down payment on a condo. So, but I know people that married like Asian or even some Italian and gotten 50. So
Right.
I'm like, I'm not taking it. And I had an African man try to lowball me for freaking 10,000. I had a Jamaican tell me 8,000.
Oh my God.
He said 8,000 is Jamaican man. 8,000. He said, but listen, he's a good guy. He's a pastor in the country. I said, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm sorry. But then I kind of like really sat back and I said, I do want to get married one day, and I don't really want to have to explain to my husband, like, listen, hey, I want to get married, but we can't really do it right now because I'm going through a process. Let's wait a couple of years. You understand what I'm saying? And I always wanted to wait and be a wife before I even have children. So I was like, and if it didn't happen, it didn't happen, clearly. And marriage is sacred to me, at least. And I have to value that. And I was like, I'm losing myself for money. And I was like, no, that's not me. So I said, God, just make a way.
That's what's up.
Yes.
Okay, morals. Wait, Shanita said yes.
Well, you say
Oh,
yes.
God.
Ooh, spill a tea.
Y'all already
Spill
know.
a tea.
Y'all already know I have freaking African stories for days. Like, it's really crazy. So, y'all know I went to Nigeria in 2016, and we went to this like pool party on the island, and of course, the one thing people love over there, Americans. All right, like talk. Saying all these BS, oh yeah, I could take care of you, I could do this, I could do that. But when he dropped that number, and this is how I know, Mandy, you was right, girl. That number, I said, I had to laugh. I was like, sir, I'm done with this conversation. Pass the bubbly and let's get on with this show. Like, seriously, once you said that number, I don't want to have a conversation with you anymore because clearly you're not serious.
Right. And honestly, a lot of them now that I've realized for insurance, so that you don't like run off with the money, they want you to get you pregnant. Like I've had one offer me that too. It was like, well, but he's probably going to have a kid just in case, because something like this happened before and it didn't work out. And I'm like, y'all crazy.
Like he mean like sleep with you, or like get you like inseminated or something like that?
That's crazy.
No, like impregnate, like.
Wow.
Penis and vagina, like eggs.
Wow.
I never heard that one before. Thank God.
Oh yeah, girl. I was in college. Yeah.
What?
That's crazy.
Oh no.
Right. See, no. I've never. Did I think about it? I've never I've never had an experience like that.
I've never had an experience like that either.
Who have offered me money, and I had to respectfully turn it down. Y'all know what I'm talking about without me saying it, and that's it.
Look at the
white.
It wasn't nothing sexual. Get that out the way.
Wait, what?
But I was offered lump sums of money to do. It wasn't nothing sexual or nothing crazy.
So what was it? Transactional.
She's serious right now?
Yeah.
Like scammer.
Mute the kid.
Scammer.
Let's mute this side.
Look at his face.
We don't need the feds tapping in.
Oh.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Awkward.
I was so confused. I was like, what?
What time they coming in?
They said they was 20 minutes.
By the time they come in, the show gonna be over.
Yeah, we're not doing this 3 hours again, please.
You want to pause? Oh wait, maybe put this on. Maybe put this on there.
He can.
These bloopers.
I'm gonna tell you about it in a minute.
I want to hear. Tell me, man. What's going on?
It was a bad judgment call.
Oh, what?
Let me catch my fucking breath. That was in my head.
Come on, you just lost 30 pounds, bro. What happened? Why you hustling? You got this, big bro.
Oh shit!
Okay, so what happened?
Let him stay.
All right.
Make sure your background is right.
Right.
Right now.
Don't
We
be
don't
ghetto.
no dirty dishes in the background.
No dirty
Lord God, Jesus, please. No rest for the wicked. No rest for the wicked.
Crazy.
No rest for the wicked.
My sister, true
What do y'all think
Scorpio.
about the whole situation that's happening now with the death of George Floyd? Like, how do y'all feel about that?
I think police brutality is a conversation that needed to be had in this community for a long time. And I mean like a real conversation. I think that for people of color, right, our interaction with police are different, right, than our counterparts. But I think specifically when we're talking about like young Black men, right, it's even more like deep and complicated. And I think that their relationship with the police are typically poor. There's no real communication. There's no real rapport. And I think they try to force it when they had like the PAL. Remember, like when you did like the summer youth, or you were able to go to those closed-out intersections in the street and do games and activities, and that was supposed to be sponsored by like the Police Authority League, right?
Right.
And I think those were attempts from the city, the state, to kind of have better interactions with the communities they police, right?
It took me about 3 days to watch the video, and it was I can't even describe it. It was a very tough thing to watch. Being a Black man and seeing all of these videos that came out in the past, I want to say 10 years, from Trayvon Martin to everybody else that passed away. This one was the toughest because you can hear the cry in his voice, and I almost cried. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Like, I almost cried, and you just didn't have the answers on why they was doing what they were doing. And the thing that stuck in my mind and that's still there embedded is the cop's face when he looked up and it was like, yo, you're killing him, like you're choking him, and he just raised his eyebrow like with no emotion and no nothing, and it was just like, how can a human being do something so cruel to another human being?
I cried watching that joint the first time I saw it, man. It just was, I don't know what was more disappointing to me, whether it was the police that was pinning him down, or just the people just standing around recording and not, like I get it. Like in our communities, it's like the police have invoked fear on us to where it's like, if you're in that type of situation, like me and Christina had a whole conversation, like, yo, what would you do? Because it's like, if you interfere, there's a chance that you might lose your life. There's a chance you might get arrested. But at the same time, it's like, me personally, I couldn't have just sat there and just watched them kill that man like that. Like, I would have had to do something, like maybe whatever, just beat me up, whatever. At least something to get them off of this man, so this man can live. Like, it's just crazy.
But people do have families and people that care about them that they need to go home to. Like, that's a lot. I mean, I feel like that's a lot to ask somebody to risk it all like that. Like, it has to be a community thing. Like, everybody has to come together. Like, what will it be if you're just going to be another body just in the street?
It took me a few days to watch as well.
Same.
Because I'm very, very sensitive to stuff like that, and I try to protect my peace in regards to that because I know how much it makes me angry and it gets me riled up. So I watched it and I just was like, oh my God, like this could be my brother. This could be my father. This could be my uncle. I'm going to marry black. My kid's going to be black. And I've said that forever and that's what it's going to be. So I'm just saying like that could be my husband. And the fact that black men, black people, period, that we just continually get beat up and get no justice, it's hard. Like, it's literally like the words to even put it into a sentence for me, like, it's still very hard because it's mind-blowing. It's literally mind-blowing. And for me, with the people who are going into these stores and taking everything, I'm gonna be honest with you, burn it up.
Right out.
I'm not saying burn up black businesses. However, like, things like nothing's happening and white people always rioting. Whether it is for a baseball game, whether they win a baseball game, they lose a baseball game, their team win. But however, when we take steps to do this, it's we're aggressive or we're angry. And no, we want justice for our people, for our men, for our children. It's just, it's hard. The video is hard. Every time I have to watch one of those videos, it's hard. And with social media, it's like constantly playing and playing and playing. And it's heartbreaking. It's literally heartbreaking.
A lot of things that we take for granted, I think now this should be like the wake-up call for just black people across the whole nation to like start taking politics seriously, start like looking into these bills and looking into who's signing these bills. So this way, when we go to the election polls, we know who's for us and who's against us.
Understanding the election process,
right?
That's important too.
Nah, in school they never taught us about the U.S. Constitution. In public school they never taught us about like anything. It's like Black history always started with slavery. Like in the education system, from the time I was in first grade until like high school, it's like our history always was slavery. And we heard about how George Washington and all these other white slave owners was these great patriotic heroes. So it's like looking back now, it's like what Mysterious Mandy was saying, like this whole thing is systematically set up for us to fail. Do y'all believe that there are any good cops out there?
Sometimes though, I think there are good cops. I just wish that the good cops would use their voice because I feel like a lot of them don't say anything.
Literally just having this conversation with one of my clients I ran into at the supermarket because her husband was a detective and she was just telling me like all the wonderful things he did in the community, but he did it a lot of times individually. Like he would have to go out and maybe like, you know, talk to local gang members by himself or maybe with that one other cop. But as far as a police tastic force to go out in the community and be like, hey, the 79th, we got you. No, it's not like that. But I feel like every hood have a ghetto, right? Regardless if you're in Rochester, if you're in Colorado, if you're in the trailer park, or if you're in the concrete jungle, right? But I do feel like once they see that black skin, regardless, because we saw videos where, you know, a white man would jump out his car, punch a police officer in his face, and they're still trying to subdue him the right way. They run after him. They may tase him. Right. You know, nobody gets slammed to the ground, face to the ground.
Right.
Like that doesn't happen. They might even offer him some water. You know what I mean? So
right.
There is things that you could do. They know, but it's just that when they see the skin coming their way for whatever reason, it's time to go.
So one thing I will say, I have two things to say. Black men, I love you. I support you. I value you. And I'm gonna hold y'all down. And I think it's very important for Black women to speak life into our Black men, to speak life into our children, to speak life into break these generational curses. Like, these things we need to drill into our children. It's very, very important.
All the stuff y'all said, y'all pretty much touched everything. How I personally feel with the riots and everything, it does need to happen. With what's going on with all these police killing Black people, I believe that people I think one thing people have to stop doing is fearing the police. That's what makes things hard. People would rather take their phone out than take action. I'm like free. If I was there to see what they were doing to that man, I probably would have punched him in his face. And I don't fear the cops. Anybody that knows me will tell you I'm not worried about them. It's real. It's the truth. You got to defend yourself at some point. You got to defend yourself. You can't be afraid of them. You got to defend. That's just how I feel. That's my personal feeling. But it's just gonna keep.
That means like leaving your family because you had to make a split-second decision.
And somebody got to. I feel like some people have to stand up at a certain point. People just got to stand up. You got to stand up. After a while, enough is enough. You know.
Yeah, because I look at it from the perspective of, like, for instance, if that was David on the ground and the cop is choking him out, I'm not gonna just stand there and record. It's like I have to be active. Like, you don't really know how the situation may turn out. Like, maybe that would rise up the spirit of the people standing around. Because look how easy it is. Like right now within the riots, like we have people stirring up people just to go riot. So I looked at it from the perspective of, by us not doing something and allowing them to continue to kill us, it's like, even if you were to lose your life in the process, it's like certain people are going to look at that and be like, you know what? These dudes, even though they lost their life or they got injured or they got locked up, they did something about it, and it might stir up the next people to do something about it. That's how I feel.
Might, but
way.
there's still a virtue of selfishness. You know, you still got to protect your own interests, your own wellness. Again, you have a family. So it's hard to say, because we're going to always say what we should have, could have, would have done into replacing that moment. And hindsight is 2020 like a motherfucker.
Do I think all cops are there good cops out there? I know there's good cops out there. I seen videos. My uncle was a cop, and he was a damn good cop. He won a lot of awards. He helped a lot of people. He helped his community in Brooklyn. So I know there's good cops out there, but I just think that the bad bunch is making it look bad for all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we can't think every cop is bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's good ones out there at the end of the day. But, you know, it's just that there's a lot of brutality going on, and it's just stirring all the cops in one pot. And, you know, and we're retaliating against all of them. I get it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? But not all of them are out there abusing and beating up Black people.
Name an experience y'all had with the cops, whether it was good or bad.
I got to a big ass fight. It was a big brawl. It was me and my group of friends and a whole group of other dudes. And I remember we all got caught. You know what I'm saying? They all came over there. And I remember a Black cop. And it's a Black cop, I ain't gonna lie. He came up to me. He was like, yo, man, like, I could look at you and tell you're a good kid. Like, he was just like, yo, like, I've been there. I did this. I done that. He was like, yo, man, like, you look like you got a good head on your shoulder. He was like, I'm gonna drive you home. I just want to talk to you. So he literally drove me home. Because when we had the fight, I was like on the opposite side of where I lived at, across Atlantic. He was just like, yo, listen, man, like, you need to go to school. You need to do right by your moms. And he asked me, he's like, yo, is your mother a single mom? So I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, like, you got to be the man in the house, because there's no man in the house right now. So you got to be that example for your brothers and sisters, no matter what it takes. He's like, you out here fighting. It could be gang related, it could be whatever it is. But as a man, you're going to learn one day that all of this stuff ain't going to matter. And like, him talking to me it proved to me that there's good cops out there, coming from a kid being in the street, struggling, and seeing everything that I possibly seen growing up. He explained it to me in that short ride home. And that made me believe that not all cops is the same. Because I used to go around saying pigs this, pig that, chicks this, you know what I'm saying? But not all cops is bad. Then I do have bad situations where I personally got beat by cops. CJ, no, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we got into once again a brawl in my 20s, and cops whipped my ass. Like I was sore for like a month. Whole left side, I was bruised up. They sprayed me with mace and everything. And you know, it was my fault at the end of the day, but did they have to beat me with a nightstick accessory the way they did? But they did, you know what I'm saying? So it was a situation where I was on both sides of the playing field. So I could say there's good cops and then there's bad cops. Them niggas whipped my ass. They beat me like Rodney King. Them niggas beat my ass, man. Like, so I know. So you know, CJ, tell them, nigga, I ain't beat my ass, man.
They was wearing his ass out.
That was too many of them, man. It was too many of them.
But you had an opportunity.
What'd you say?
You had an opportunity to jump in and help your friend, like you said.
I didn't have an opportunity. I was fighting myself.
You was fighting yourself.
No, we were all fighting. What I'm saying is I was fighting also.
The police
it was a big brawl. I couldn't even get to him. It's the truth. I couldn't get to him. He know that. He was out there swinging the police.
It sounded like you was on the sidelines watching.
Nah. Oh, no.
Never the day.
Nah, my man CJ was holding it down. Me and I was getting a rocking out there. But me, it was, like I said, it was my fault because they were undercovers. I didn't know they was undercover. They didn't announce, they didn't flash their badge, so I started beating them up. And that's why the cops jumped on me and they started whipping my ass. But like I said,
we were out there fighting cops and we were fighting the people from the club too. You know who was who?
Yeah, it was undercovers. Like, how we gonna know? Like, they didn't say, "Yo, we are the police." They, like, if you're fighting a whole group of people and somebody grab you on your arm, you gonna automatically, I flip them over. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I'm hitting him, and then they like, "Oh, he's an officer." I stopped. I'm like, "Oh shit, my fault." At that, they went crazy on my ass after that. It was hands, feet, bats, pepper spray, everything.
Nike boots,
everything.
Right after that,
But the conclusion to what I'm saying is that there's good cops out there. Like, for all my black people out there, if you're listening to this, I hope y'all, it's good cops out there. Don't think that all cops is bad. There are cops that are good to their communities. I've seen plenty of videos out there. I was just watching a video on World Star where it was some white cops, 2 white cops. It was a whole group of kids on the basketball court, and they was playing basketball with them. And they betted that if the kids beat them in basketball, they was gonna buy everybody lunch. And they lost, and they dead bought everybody lunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's good cops out there. It's just that, you know, all of this commotion and all of this bad stuff that's going on, it's just, you know, I ain't saying these niggas ain't, you know, I'm not saying that they all are good, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that they are good cops out there. Maybe in one precinct, there might be 2. I don't know. But, you know what I'm saying? But it is.
I gotta disagree with you on that one. And the reason why I disagree is just because they ain't putting hands and feet on people don't mean that they good cops. To be honest with you, some people may disagree with me. I feel black cops are worse than white ones because they want to fit in. They want to fit in so damn bad.
Sometimes we have to stop provoking because I seen a video on World Star like 2 days ago, and it was a cop, and I forgot where it was. I think it was in Brooklyn or somewhere, and the cop was just doing his patrol, and they was throwing bottles at the car, and they was telling them to suck their dick. Like, sometimes we got to stop provoking cops as well. I know we feel like they are a threat to us at all times, but they do have a duty sometimes, and sometimes as black men, we got to take a step back and just let them do what they do. If they're not harming us, don't provoke them, because there's many cases where I've seen videos where people provoke the cops, and then now they bring 20 squad cars, and now they whipping ass and pepper spraying people.
kind of my problem with like social media and videos. You only get a snippet. You don't know, like just how the news was sensationalized, what they want to sensationalize. We don't know the whole narrative, the whole story of what occurred prior to that. I feel as though I understand what you're saying though, because there is times where maybe a brand new officer that got the best intentions is walking and you might have people that be like, suck my dick, officer, but you still have to maintain a certain level of professionalism. That doesn't mean you have to restrain them, throw them down, and arrest them because they told you to suck their dick. These are the same ones.
Okay. I'm saying for me, I only met one good cop in my whole entire life. That ass, like every other cop, like stopping you just for being black. Like I've only met one good cop, and I ain't gonna lie, the advice he gave me was like something I remembered like for the rest of my life. I was with my nigga John Frank, 59th Street, Columbus Circle. We had beef. So one of my homies, he got a screwdriver. So he's running around chasing niggas with the screwdriver, and shit just get crazy, and it's a big ass brawl. So in the midst of the brawl, cops come and shit, and it's all these white cops, and there's only one black cop. So the white cop, they grab me, grab John, start hitting us with, not with the nice sticks, but it's them long
the blackjack,
the magic wands.
It's called a blackjack.
Start whooping our asses with that. And we like 15, 16 years old, and these grown ass men. And then this black cop, he came, he's just like, yo, what are y'all doing? Stop that shit. Like, these are still kids. So then he grabs me and John, he takes us upstairs, and he's like, yo, you guys all right? And I'm like, yeah. So he's just like, yo, what happened? So we're both quiet. Like, we ain't gonna snitch out here. So we solid, right? So we just quiet. And then he's just like, yo, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. He's like, yo, the odds is against y'all. The fact that y'all black and Latino, everything is against y'all. And it's easy for y'all to go out here and do the wrong thing. Like, they want y'all to do the wrong thing. He's just like, it's hard to go out here and stay in school. It's hard to get a job and defend your family and fend for your family. And he was just like, he told me to start like going home and reading just up on like our history as black people and stuff. And it kind of bugged me out because before that I had this whole presupposition of the NYPD. Just like David, I was on some like, yo, fuck police, this, that, and the third. And that one cop, he like changed my perspective. Even though that's the only one good cop I ever seen since then. Like after that, I'm like, where the fuck is the rest of the brothers like him?
Yo, Free, remember the time on 42nd Street when we hopped the turnstile?
Oh my God. I gotta tell you the story. This is my first with racism. So we was cutting school. It was me, David, this white boy, we call him white boy, and John Frank. John Frank is half white, but he claimed Dominican, but he loved white. So we cut in school, and we used all of our Metro card fares, right? So we at the train station on 42nd, and nobody wants to swipe us on. So I'm like, yo, man, forget this. We about to just hop this turnstile. So John Frank, he's like, yo, the police is right there. So I'm like, where? I don't see no police. David, me and white boy, we don't see no police. He's like, yo, they in that corner. But we're thinking he's lying because he's hopping back and forth over the turnstile. Like, he's literally doing this shit. I'm like, the police is there. He wouldn't be playing like this. So we all hop the turnstile. We go down into the train. We're waiting for the train, right? Next thing you know, a whole fucking brigade of goddamn police officers come down. It had to be like maybe freaking 8, 9, 10 of these cops, right? They come down. So I'm like, damn, we all about to just get locked up. Shit. So they point, they like, yo, you two, come with us. So I'm sitting there like, two of us, like, you see all four of us? So me and John Frank step forward, right? And then they tell John Frank, no, not you. And they point to David. And they like, me and David to come. So at this point in my head, I'm like, yo, I know y'all seen White Boy and John Frank hop with us. Like, this shit is crazy. But I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm just sitting there like, so they ain't gonna say nothing to these dudes, but they gonna say something to us. So we go to the front. I think I was still like a minor or whatever. So they run our IDs, and then they wound up locking David up because he has some warrants and shit. And he starts passing the fuck out. I'm like, damn, bro. He's like, yo, call my mama, let her know I'm in the book. I'm gonna be in the book and shit. I'm like, damn, bro. I'm like, thank God I'm still a minor, man.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, I went crazy. I'm like, yo, y'all niggas dead ass, man. I'm like, yo, you only seen us two. I ain't tried to say, but I'm like, yo, y'all only seen us two? I kept asking them, like, yo, y'all only seen me and this man jump this turnstile. I was like, man, I dead told the cop, like, man, you a fucking racist bastard, man. I'm like, yo, I told him to suck my dick. I ain't gonna lie. I told her,
I thought they was gonna gun this man down. I'm like, oh my God.
My dick, man. Like, my niggas is crazy, man. Like, y'all fucking they hit me with the nice stick one good time and threw me in the paddy wagon, man.
Oh my God.
Tight, man. Bookings for 2 days, man. That was tight.
Black men, I have a question.
Right.
Still on this topic. So the women that are not Black and that you date and they're not Black women, however, they're Spanish, they're Asian, they are white, and this happens and they don't say anything, but meanwhile they have sex with you. We're not, you know what I mean? They have sex with you, they have relations with you, they want to hang with, they want to date you, but they don't want to speak out on this topic, or they're very silent during this time. How do you guys feel about that?
Man, listen, man, I'm dumping her ass, man. You gotta, if you going, I always say this, and this is coming from a person that I dated out of my race and stuff like that. Like, if you ain't gonna sit there and ride out with me through the thickest and darkest times as a Black man, then we can't fuck with each other. We can't be with each other. We can't, because it's like, what's gonna happen to our sons? Let's say if I have a kid with a white girl or a Spanish girl or something like that, they're gonna still be Black at the end of the day. So if you can't stick up for me, are you gonna stick up for your kids if they get misjudged or anything like that? Like, I'm totally against that. Like, you should be there right by my side no matter what. If you getting this dick, you gotta be getting right there, sticking it through with a nigga. Fuck all that. Like, I don't care, man. That's how I feel.
DJ?
For me, I agree with David 100%. If you're gonna date, if you're gonna be with me, and I'm a Black man, and
that is still your race.
I'm Black. I do date out of my race. I have
but we'll talk about that later.
No, understandably.
Out of your ethnicity. Okay.
Understandably, but a lot of Dominicans won't say that they're Black. I'm not gonna.
It don't matter. The census gonna tell your ass they Black.
I know that.
That's another topic, but continue.
What, like, for me, with my daughter's mother, she's 100% like, yo, this shit is wrong. She's one that stands up for it. She posts on her page. She does all of that, from what I know. So, I mean, but like, I agree with David 100%. If you're gonna be with a Black man, then you better ride out. That's how it's supposed to be like that 100%.
So how do you guys feel? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Free.
I don't mean to sound racist, and I might get dragged for what I'm about to say, but fuck it, I'm gonna say it anyway. Like, as a Black man, I don't think any woman that's not, I honestly think that a Black woman is the best choice to raise up a Black kid in America. Like, I don't think white women don't have the perspective that Black women have, that we as Black men go through. I don't think Asian women have the perspective. A lot of Black men, we just think about shit with our dicks and what we see. So it's like, a lot of times dudes get into these interracial relationships. Not saying anybody on here, but just dudes in general. A lot of times they get into interracial relationships because it's either like a fetish or like a fantasy. It could be like a self-hate type of thing. And they're not really fully thinking it through that, yo, if you start a family with this person, that your child is going to be Black. Like, hands down, your child is going to be Black. And is this person the best person is this person going to be the best person to equip your son, if you have a Black son, with the tools that he necessarily needs to not only just be successful, but to thrive within a system that's built against him? That's just what I'm going to say. So motherfucking audience could drag me all
Can
you
I
want.
can I just say one thing? One more thing. I am, and I agree with LeVon 100%. And they gonna drag my ass too. But I dated a white woman, and it was a terrible experience. And it was terrible in the sense that she did not get why she didn't get why I was such a strong black man and why I stood behind my black morals, and I stood behind what was going on. And then me and her had this long ass argument, and I was just like, so you mean tell me if we had kids together, you gonna preach that all lives matter shit if a cop got their hands around his neck and they whipping his ass? She was like, yeah. And I'm like, what? I was like, yo, nah, you can't be fucking serious, man. And that's what and I'm gonna get dragged for this too. And that's when I realized that I cannot be with a white woman ever.
You never get dragged.
Huh?
No, you might, but I support it because don't nobody. I feel like with black men, I'm glad everybody said that, but don't nobody ride for y'all like black women, okay? And that's a physac. That's a Fendi fact. We as black women, we ride for black men, and that's where I feel that black men sometimes don't ride for us. But it's good for you guys to hear that and to say that because we be riding for y'all. We gonna be the ones running in the streets, acting crazy for y'all. So I'm just saying that all the people watching, black women, we ride for black men.
I also have another story that I don't think a lot of people know. Nita, I don't know if you remember the situation.
I'm already girl.
So I was on my way to work. I used to work overnight, at the hospital, minding my own little business. And I get on the train and I walk from one car to the next, some regular New York shit. This guy in a Knicks jacket, like windbreaker jacket, he's like, you, get off the train. And I'm on the phone with Nita and I'm like, what is this guy? Like, I gotta go. I'm gonna be late for work, whatever. And I'm like, girl, this crazy white guy is telling me to get off the train. He's stopping the train. I'm not paying any attention to it. So I'm just like, I just hope he has his little episode and, the MTA comes and drags him out and we could get along with, And so because he finally was like, get off the train right now, get off the train right now. He finally shows me his badge, okay? He was dressed like a regular person. I didn't ever have many interactions with the police prior to that. So I'm just like, he's just a regular crazy looking white guy. So I get off the train and he's like, why didn't you listen to me when I told you to get off the train the first time? And I'm like, sir, like, I don't know that you're the police. You're not wearing a uniform. Like, how do I know that you're a police officer in regular clothes? He's like, I have this badge. He's like, I told him, you didn't show me that badge until later. Like, you didn't show me your badge and was like, get off the train. So now I'm thinking like, okay, let me tell you how, like, I really had no interaction with the police to the level where I thought they found me to tell me something happened to like my family member or something like that. Right? Like, because I was like, the only time that I had interactions with that I know about the police is from TV. So on TV, they come to you and they be like, I'm sorry, Miss So-and-so, your mother's missing or something like that. So I'm like, okay, so what is the problem? Like, why did you tell me to get off the train? He's like, he kept on going on about me needing to know that he was a police officer. So he's like, you should know I'm a police officer. I got this badge. I'm like, okay, anybody has a badge. Anybody could come and make up a badge and say, I'm a police officer. And he was like, well, this shows that I'm a cop. He pulled out a little walkie-talkie. So I'm like, well, how the hell am I supposed to know? You could be, I don't know, park patrol, MTA worker, I don't know. Then he pulls out his little gun, right, on the side of his hip and was like, this shows that I'm a police officer. So I got scared, and I'm on the phone with Nita. I have my headphones in. I'm like, oh, my God, girl, I'm so scared right now. Like 8 cops approached us, at first it was just me and him. Then like 8 other white males came up to me, and I'm like, the first thing I'm thinking, these cops are going to rape me, kill me, and then throw me in the tracks. So I was like so scared, and I turned my body, and he's like, I'm putting you under arrest right now. And I'm like, well, what are you arresting me for? And he's like, for resisting arrest. And I'm like, explain to me how I've been resisting arrest. I don't know what's going on right now. Like, you have me on the track. Like, I was on the platform at East 180th Street. It was dark. There was barely any street lights or anything like that. And they put me in cuffs. He called me a dumb black bitch, paraded me through the train platform. So everybody saw me like with my hands cuffed and walked me through the train station, and then we had to walk like 2 blocks to the police precinct. So they didn't even put me in a car or anything like that. They had me handcuffed walking through the streets of the Bronx at night, and people thinking like I'm doing something. Like, it was just really crazy. They wouldn't let me call my mom. They had me there for hours before I was able to like get in contact with my mom, and I had to tell her. I was so embarrassed that I had to tell her, like, I'm arrested and I didn't do anything and I need you to come get me right now. And thankfully her friend had like, he was like a fire chief or something, and he was able to like come to the station. But the police report that they had, they said I was belligerent. I was acting, anybody that knows me knows like I carry myself a certain way. And I'm not just out here in these streets just acting up or wilding out for no reason. Like that's not even in my character. But they wrote that all in the police report. And then when they finally realized that like I had a family that cares about me, that you know was really upset that I was there. The cop that arrested me started being nice to me. He was like asking me all these kind of personal questions. And that shit was so traumatizing. Like, I don't really talk about it, but it really affected how I view the cops. Like, I am absolutely terrified of them. I'm pretty sure there are good police officers, because I know some of my friends that are police officers, but the ones I don't know, I cannot trust, because I'm just, going about my own business, and you found a reason to harass me. And there were so many of them that I don't understand why anybody didn't say, you know what, she's probably scared. It doesn't take freaking 8, 9 police officers to apprehend this female who didn't know that she was even interacting with the police officers. So that shit was mad crazy.
That should sound crazy.
Yeah,
I had
it
to call
was.
my job and tell my job, like, it was the worst experience in my whole entire fucking life.
Because I feel like these are the experiences why Black people do not trust the cops, and Black people do not respond well, and Black people tend to either shut down or be aggressive because of these types of issues. And what you said was you didn't get to pursue what you wanted to do because you were scared. You know what I mean? Like, because fear, and that's a lot of the times what happened. Like Mandy said, fear is what holds back the Black community a lot in a lot of instances.
Right. And mind you, this happened when I was younger too, so I didn't know how to really react to it. I'm standing in that cell, and he's like, have a seat. Didn't want to sit down or anything. Everything was gross. I just felt treated like nothing, like garbage. Like, you don't matter. And mind you, when my mom's friend came, all of a sudden, it's a mistake. Like, just try to cooperate with us. We just, you're not the train cars. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that was like illegal to the point where you get arrested. Like, this is New York. Who doesn't do that? So that was crazy.
Like one situation there's 3, but this one I'll speak about. The other one's a little too personal. So this one, I was like dating a guy, and it was like really bad DV, and he tried to break into my house. and I had like a glass door, so you could hear him booming my door. So I called the cops, and he finally left. Right. So they took almost like 3 hours to come, and later on we found out that he has a history of this and like craziness. Right. So when the cop came, usually they come knock on your door. No, he hit the horn and told me to come outside. I came outside, and he's like, look, he didn't even get out the car. He just sitting in the car. I guess he saw where I live is a white neighborhood. So I guess when he saw my black ass come outside, he was just like, okay, is this the help? So when I came outside, he's just like, oh, are you Mandy? Did you call? I said, yeah. So he's like, well, what happened? And I told him the situation, and he was just like, oh, well, I can see why he did that. And like he licked his lips, and he's like looking. So he's in the car, so he's sitting down, so he's looking like at my vaginal region. So I'm kind of looking at him like, this dude is disgusting. Like clearly, I'm a little shaken up because of the situation I got going on with this asshole. And now you're coming, you're gonna hypersexualize me. So he's like, listen, do you own this house? And I'm like, why does that matter? He's like, or you just rent? Like, do you live there? And I said, I mean, I live here, yeah. He's like, oh, so would you mind me coming later for dinner? I'm like, what? Like, he's like, oh, you never been with an officer before? Like, it was so, and then, so the guy that was talking to me was Latino, and the guy that was driving was white. So the white guy was just like, when he seen me, you could tell he was just like, oh, let's just go. Like, come on. So he wasn't, and then the white guy didn't even get out the car either. Like, he didn't even make eye contact. Like, they kind of just laughed, ha ha ha. And he was just like, oh, do you want to take my number? And I'm like, no. Like, that's okay. And like, I went back upstairs, and I'm like, yo, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's not just the violent shit. It's just that whole manipulation, right? And just making you feel unsafe. Like, I'm already a woman. You know where I live at. You have authority. You have a weapon. So you can easily just come to my home and attack me. And this has happened in the past with other women, other cases, or the officers. So I was just like, this was the final straw, because I've had other instances, and I was just like, I don't think I'll ever call the police again. And then like when I had to call the police on a professional level for work, I've heard them say certain things like, we went to a home, and he was like, oh, this must be a Guyanese family based on what the call was about. He was like, yeah, they always getting drunk and beating their wives' asses. This is two white guys saying this. And I was just like, and he laughed it off, but then his friend kind of like nudged him. You could tell he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was just like, like, I was just like, wow, this is crazy. But I haven't been arrested, thankfully. I've either eluded them, or they let me go, because I had a similar issue with the train, and I was a minor. Like the partner was like, you gotta let them go. Like, what are we doing? Like, you're trying to pursue this for what? This girl's like 15.
I just wanna ball, I just wanna ball, I just want it all, I just want it all. Wanna break the law, shipping off the wall, hit me when I call, hit me when I call.